Hi, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we're playing Spec Ops The Line for the PlayStation 3. This is your basic duck and cover shooting game. You'll have to forgive me. I haven't played this game in quite some time. So I don't really remember how to play it. I hate these guys. There's like guys like this on Uncharted that have like a shitload of armor on. I forgot how to reload. I'm gonna end up throwing a grenade by accident. That's what usually happens. I've been playing so many different kinds of games. So this is your average duck, run and cover, third person shooter. Not a bad thing. But what people will dismiss about this game because of that is this game has an amazing storyline and is one of the few games of this type that doesn't glorify war and actually makes you not feel the impact as you would in a real war, but makes you have to make tough choices, and based on the choices you make, you usually feel like a terrible person for making those choices, and that's something that not a lot of games really do anymore, or ever really. Like if you play Gears of War, the guys are basically high-fiving each other every time they blow somebody's brains out. There's consequences for every single thing you do. Dude man's gonna die if I don't help him, and I'm gonna probably die trying to save him. And one thing I don't like about this game, as you see, I think the load times are a little bit long in between deaths. I had that issue with the 007 GoldenEye Reloaded too. I've felt like the loading times in between dying, it is ridiculous to wait this amount of time. I mean, I'm not a programmer, but to me, like, all the information's basically already loaded in. Like, why does it take so long to get back to where you left off? I know that's like a nitpicky thing, but this is a nice looking game. I'm sorry that the picture's flickering every once in a while. I don't know if that'll record or not. That's because I probably need to get a better USB cable. So Nolan North, of course, in his mini roles, plays the main character. He's the voice of Nathan Drake and Deadpool and just about almost every other character in some game. Like, I know in like Saints Row, like there's an option when you make your character to give him the Nolan North voice, because he's been in so many games, cartoons too. It's ridiculous. But yeah, this is a nice looking game, plays very smoothly. Just gameplay wise, there's nothing incredibly special about it. There's some squad command stuff going on, but nothing as like in-depth as I gotta hide. Nothing as in-depth as, say, Brother in Arms, which I hope they make a sequel of at some point. They said they would, but I don't know. They take a long time to make sequels for those games, except when the first game came out, they made a sequel in a pretty short amount of time, but that one felt almost more like an expansion pack. You run out of bullets pretty fast in this, so keep an eye on that. But what makes this game stand out is the story. Like, when I'm judging whether I'm having a good time with the game, sometimes it's not always because it has the best gameplay in the world. Sometimes it could have a good aesthetic value, or it could be creative in a different sense. This game's interesting because of the story. You want to see what happens next. And sometimes when you think you're doing the right thing, this game will show you that you made a terrible mistake, and it'll show you some of the tragedies of war. It's not a terribly bloody game. I've seen a lot of more over the top violent games, but this handles the violence in a more realistic manner with emotion behind it. And I just died again because I'm talking and not paying attention. Story of my life. And that's what makes this game special. So I think if you like shooting games, you should at least play this game one time. And you're not going to notice the story elements on the first or second level. You got to really play the game. And I think if you like shooting games and a decent story, you'll be interested. This takes place in a fictional kind of battle. I mean, just because it's in the Middle East, it's not really like based on anything that's actually ongoing. It's just close enough and location to feel like it's something that could be happening right now. So you're basically like a lost battalion, basically trying to get your way back. You had a mission, not everything's going straight. It sounds really cliche. You should just play the game. And don't dismiss it because the gameplay is average. You know how many third-person, first-person shooter games that are out there that play the same, that are sometimes even worse, and they don't stand out? This at least stands out because it has a cool story, and that's why you should play. You should play this game for the fun gameplay, because the gameplay is fun, it's solid, and the story. And I'm not repeating myself again because I'm saying the same things over and over again, and I pushed the wrong button because I'm used to playing other games, and that sucks. But I'm used to playing other games. Because recording these videos, especially since I've been playing PlayStation games that are far apart from when they were released, like early PlayStation games have like a certain control scheme on most of the shooting games, and then the later ones kind of have this exact same shooting scheme, and I could just, and then there's some that are in the middle that have like a completely different way to play. So it's hard for me just for the recording these videos to pick up and play a game and talk about it. Forgot how to switch weapons. Isn't that sad? There. There's some, as you could see, there's some environmental destruction. You don't want your guys to die. And this is where I usually die, where I'm trying to save the people. Heal. And I'm dead because I tried to help him. I don't usually play this bad, so don't give me any tips, please. I don't want to hear it. It's just hard to record and talk. I'm not good at it. Which, like I said, creating your channel is definitely the first thing you want to do when you have that issue. But I guess it gets better with time. Maybe in a decade or so, I'll have this down to an art. Hopefully you'll still be watching by then.
Lugo, the second we reach that helo, you start running. Don't worry about me. Just get there. Here we go.
One thing I always check when I play shooting games, do the bottles break? Yes, they do. I cannot stand it when you play a game and the glass doesn't break. This glass isn't gonna break. But I accept that because it's a gigantic ass dome. It's not Battlefield 4. And I just wasted a whole bunch of precious bullets. Apparently your team members aren't the brightest. They take it upon themselves to do stupid things like get shot. And then I have to go and try to help them and forget what's the duck or the hide behind cover button and get shot just there. I like the loading screens though. I don't like waiting on the loading screens, but I do like how they're static but there's a little animation in certain parts.
Lugo, the second we reach that helo, you start running. Don't worry about me. Just
believe this game runs on the Unreal Engine 3, just like almost every single game on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era, which is fine. I can't wait till Wolfenstein comes out, just because Rage was such an awesome game, and that engine that they used on Rage was really powerful and was able to pump out 60 frames per second and still have a lot of shit going on the screen. Granted, the texture streaming wasn't the greatest, but I think on the next gen consoles, even though it's probably more considered this gen, PS3's last gen, whatever, you know what the fuck I'm talking about, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I think the game will look awesome. And I've been curious what they're able to do with the Rage engine, or the ID Tech 5, I think it is called, the proper term. I get confused of which engine ID uses between Doom 3, the Doom 3 engine, and the Rage engine. I think ID Tech 5 is the Rage engine, but Wolfenstein: The New Order runs on the Rage engine, and I've been so curious about how another game would work on it, and it looks fantastic. I think it'll look good on all systems considering how nice Rage looks, but I'm just curious, like, what it'll look like on the almost more the PlayStation 3 to see, and the Xbox 360, just to see if they push it. Because if you think about it, Rage ran on 60 frames per second. I wonder how much more stuff the engine could have done if they ran it on 30 frames. Just curious. It seemed like a super powerful engine, and I hope that they utilize that power from the next gen. I have it pre-ordered. I believe it comes out next week. Unfortunately, I don't have any fancy recording devices for the PlayStation 4, even though the PlayStation 4 is accepting recording devices for HDMI now. I believe they are, with that new update that they have. So I'll have to do it via camcorder. Like, this capture card session won't be an all the time thing, because it's easier for me just to record with the camera. I figured it'd be a nice change of pace, even though the quality has nothing to do with pace. But yeah, I'm really excited about Wolfenstein, and I hope that the game's long. The last Wolfenstein 2009 version had a lengthy single player mode, and since Wolfenstein New Order, whatever it's called, I think that's the name, I freaking pre-ordered it, and I'm not quite sure what it's called. I know what engine it runs on, though. I'll bet a lot of people that pre-ordered don't know what engine it runs on, so I got that going for me. But I've just been curious about the Rage engine and what it can do, and I hope it's nice, and I hope it's just not one of those slightly higher res ports that the PlayStation 4 has been getting.
I need some cover here.
Now, when I say this game isn't violent, I mean, like, gosh, I guess I try to push duck. Sometimes I don't think the controls are completely super responsive, like on, at least on the PlayStation 3 version. Like, that's an insult. Like, I would normally not get this if I wasn't recording, but I think that's a good time to end, so I don't embarrass myself anymore. You at least know what the game looks like. But it's a fun game. You should play it, not because it's a third-person, hide-behind-cover Gears of War type shooter, but the story and the themes and everything else, that's what you would play it for. So this game has solid gameplay, but you should be more interested in the other aspects of this game that accompany it, which makes it stand out, which makes it a great shooter in my title. Sometimes you don't have to have a game that has everything going for it and has to be super original. Sometimes a game does something very well, and this game does story very well and has solid mechanics. So definitely recommend this game if you like shooters. This isn't a review, this is just a quick opinion. If you just ask me, do you think this game's any good? I would tell you yes, I enjoyed it. So yes, I enjoyed it, and I recommend it if you like to play shooters and you're interested in story and more and themes and making choices that are difficult. Sometimes you get choices that are both difficult and both equally have bad consequences, and you don't see a lot of games like that. The only other game I like, and it's one of my favorite game series ever, is of course the Mass Effect games, and I believe that does everything better. Although Mass Effect doesn't have a terribly good like standout shooting aspect either. I think Mass Effect's on par. I just think Mass Effect's RPG segments and the choices and stuff are superior versus any other game I've played ever. But I mean, that's picking one of my favorite new franchises of like the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 generation. But you know, this game's really good. I recommend it. It's a great shooter with a good storyline, solid mechanics, awesome storyline. If you like shooters, I would be really shocked if you were completely disappointed with this. So don't pass it up as a generic shooter just because it didn't sell a million copies. The gameplay, yeah, it's sort of generic, but the story, magnificento, if that's a real thing. Alright, if it's not a real thing, that just meant it was a good game. Alright guys, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please click thumbs up, and if you wouldn't mind, leave a comment, positive or negative. Please make sure it's not mean. Please don't send me any tips how to play better or do something better at this game. I fully realize that I'm not playing as good as I usually do because I'm trying to talk at the same time, which is easier said than done. Some of you guys that make videos are way better at that than I am, but I have trouble multitasking sometimes. But if you're new to this channel and you didn't like this video, check out the other ones. Maybe you'll find something you like, and if you do, and if you did like this video, there's plenty of other things, and everything's all categorized and it's different little sections, and you can click the subscribe box and then you'll have me in your subscription list, and it'll be super annoying because I post at least a few times a week, so I'll probably pollute your subscription box almost as if it were junk mail, but don't take it as junk mail. Totally watch my videos, they're awesome. But you don't know all this stuff already if you're watching YouTube, unless this is the first time you ever been on YouTube, and I only asked, where have you been all this time? But anyway, thanks for watching guys, talk to you on the next video.